women from the film, Valarie, Molyneaux.
I applaud you. This is a full house.
Hi, everybody. I'm just going to ask some questions, but I'm sure the audience has a bunch of questions too. But this was such an inspiring film, and so important and so educational, because I think that there's so much we don't know about this disease and the importance of doing a documentary like this. So can you just talk a little bit about your inspiration, about why you felt that this was a particular film you needed to make?
It's because of this woman sitting next to me. I met Valarie actually, let's see, 2017, when we did our first documentary, 100 Years, 100 Voices of Faith, which was also part of ROXFILM. Yes. And I met her and I saw her and I was like, you're beautiful. And I didn't really know anything about it. We all heard the Michael Jackson stories, right? And we never wanted to believe him. We wanted to say, oh no, he just wanted to be white, he was bleaching his skin. And I started kind of doing my own thing, and I reached out to Valarie, who ran from me for 3 years. And then, like everything else that you heard in this film, it was just all about the right timing and everything lining up at the right moment. And what inspired me most is, as a filmmaker, I love women's stories. I love stories with strong, my fellow filmmaker, Lisa's over there, with strong women, with women's stories, and also telling stories that wouldn't necessarily be told, right? And so Valarie introduced me to the other 4 women, and yeah, it was all them. My job was so easy. My husband and I, my partner Greg back there, we traveled to Minnesota, to North Carolina, to Detroit, Michigan, to New York, to Connecticut, to Maryland, over 3 years, and we got this done.
And so why did you run from her for 3 years?
Oh yeah, good question.
Oh, I never heard that question.
There you go. That's what happens here.
You know
have
what?
questions.
What attracted me to her was that day it was a Martin Luther King School in Cambridge, and everybody was going up congratulating, and I reached my hand out, and as we're shaking hands, I looked down at this white thing, and something came back, a flashback. It was an instant flashback of me going to Star Market in Hyde Park, get my groceries checked through. I'm handing her, again, the hand. I handed her the money and she said, put it down. But here I'm reaching to shake her hand and she shook my hand. And I felt something go through my body. And I don't know if she remembered that day. I said, I'm frozen, right? I'm frozen in this frozen state looking, and I said, I'd love to one day see a story. And yes, she did call. And I'm saying, okay, what does this entail? Do I have to put up money? What? I'm not doing it. So I would see the call and I would ignore it. But I don't play baseball, but from what I've heard, it's 3 strikes and you're out. So the 3rd strike, I had to take that call. And God is good if you don't know it. We're here 3-something years later.
That's an incredible story, and to think that what you've had to endure from that Star Market, from people feeling, and you talk about this in the film about people think you could catch it. It was something communicable. I mean, and not people not understanding and then not tolerating that. And then, so here we are, how many years later are we for this film since you guys met?
3.5 years.
3.5 years, when so many strides have been made. And I can't help but think that your film and the work that you've been doing and the people that you've been talking to have moved us in that direction. So can you just talk a little bit about that and about the impact that your film, the conversations that you've been having around the country, and then also the medical breakthroughs that have been happening now around this disease?
Yeah, I'll start, and Valarie can talk more about what's happening in the vitiligo community, but we gained access to these top dermatologists, and these are men, and just because of the ones I interviewed, so Dr. Rosemary, Dr. John, we all call him Dr. John, and Detroit, why am I forgetting his name? Dr. Huggins. They don't just go into the office and say, okay, hey, yep, we have another patient. These are people, as we speak, who are invested in the community, who are going to vitiligo conferences. I've been to vitiligo conferences, and these doctors are there, and they're talking to the people, they're talking to the patients, they're saying, what else can we do? What are you doing? How can we help? So when I picked up the phone and say, hey, would you maybe have like 5 minutes for an interview? And they gave me all the time and all the access that I needed, because it's what they believe in. This does not have a cure. It is so misunderstood. There's so little known about it. People don't talk about it because they, as we mentioned, they fear it, right? And when that time when I met Valarie and she grabbed my hand and I looked at it and I was like, this is so beautiful. Like I was just entrenched with it because I had never seen anything like that. So instead of fearing it, I gravitated towards her. And just finally, my husband and I believe in the work that we do about purpose, right? We can't do something if there isn't a purpose. And what these women showed us was, through their stories, their purpose in helping other people who are living with vitiligo. And that helped us kind of figure out our purpose in doing this film. So it was just, and these are my sisters now for life. These 5 women are my sisters for life, and we will forever be in each other's lives because of that.
Wow. Community.
What's happening?
What's happening in the community? Let me take it back. When I was first diagnosed, my in-laws wanted to know if it was contagious, right? So that was an issue right there. I wanted to end my life, that's another issue. But this whole thing about community, all I simply did was type on Facebook. I was new to Facebook. If you have vitiligo, would you meet me at the Dorchester bowling alley? Ladies and gentlemen, they came from New Hampshire, they came from New York, they came from Connecticut. 18 of us. Sound like a little bit to you, but it was a massive crowd to me. And those immediately became my friends, my community. And we decided on our first night of having the event there was a nice little restaurant there, we had it there all the time next to Ramada. And we bowled till I think midnight. They didn't kick us out, so whatever the time was. And it felt so good. We felt we had to do this community thing going forward. And God confirmed that when I went home and I prayed that night, this is it. You're all in here. You can't run from this now. And so I immediately crowned New York. You saw her on the subway, 26 rides to work, as my vice president. I crowned myself as president. And Hartford, Connecticut was in. And so here I launched the group. So when I ran from her, I thought she wanted something with just me, but I have a community. And I said to her, how many people can I add to this thing? And I wanted Connecticut, my leader. I wanted New York. My third group, she came to, so conference started in 2009, 10, 11, 12, 13, North Carolina came, so that's my 4th partner. And in 2015, I got this friend from Minnesota. So here's the 5. Can you see the team of 5? Community must begin with us. And so I'm not doing anything in this life alone. And so with that, community was launched then, and it still continues today. I have 15 groups across the U.S., and that's building a community. This little me who thought I couldn't talk, I couldn't do this, but by the grace of God, I know this person. I tell people all the time, he's on the top floor. When I holler, he answers. Thank you.
Thank you. That's and I think that that's the most important thing, right? So you built this community, and with building that community, you empowered all of these people, and it's people from all walks of life, men, women, white, black, who are part of this. And so, in building this community and in empowering a whole group of people, that impact must be immense. And allowing people to believe that they can feel great about themselves, regardless of what other people say. So what do you say to that Star Market woman who wouldn't shake your hand?
It's funny because you saw my state rep on the screen. Did you see my state rep, Rob Consalvo of Hyde Park, is at the State House? And it was days.
Put your hand up a little bit more.
Oh, up here.
Yes,
Okay.
there you go.
Thank you.
Thanks.
When he met me outside of Starmont, I said, "Are you okay? How you doing?" You know, I said, "Not good." He said, "What's the matter?" I said, "I just had a run-in at Star Market." He said, "What happened?" I said, "The girl told me to put my money." He said, "Let's go back inside." I said, No, we got this. And for that young lady today, I could not remember her face. I wish I had the opportunity to go back in. And so now, last year we had Juneteenth at Hyde Park Star Market, at Brockton Star Market, and the year before that was at the Hyde Park Star Market. So I think I may have encountered her. And in our visits to the this Juneteenth, I'm sure I encountered her, and I hope that she's learned something.
So I want to open it up for questions for the audience.
I'm so happy that this has happened, and I just don't, I've been a clinician for like 25 years, and I haven't really come across people that have it, and it's almost like groups, like different groups that get siloed from other people. And I just think it's so interesting. I did have a family, a young lady, her mom, I took care of her mom, and she didn't wear her makeup, and I could see her through the window coming to my facility. But now, I'm noticing, maybe for the past, since after COVID, people are not wearing their makeup. So people I grew up with or been around, I never knew they had it. They hid it. And that's just so heartbreaking to me that I didn't know, right? And so now everybody's taking the makeup and different things, and they're just embracing themselves. So and you guys had to have an impact on that, you know, and I'm so glad that you have the community and the groups, because it helps people to understand when you have a support system, you're not alone, and it's for anything. You just don't want to be alone, you know, you just don't want to be the only one, because people take it as a punishment, you know. So God bless you, and thank you for sharing.
Thank you. Thank you for that.
Tonia, how did you convince the other individuals to go on camera? Because it's one thing to be in a group, but it's another thing to tell your story in front of the world.
I approached this film very differently than I've done anything else before. We started meeting in, I want to say, end of February, beginning of March of 2021 on Zoom, the 6 of us, so the 5 women and myself. And we met every Friday from 5 to 6, we still do. Every Friday from 5 to 6, we met, we talked, we shared, we laughed, we cried. I got to know these women. They got to trust me, and by trusting me, they were able to be very vulnerable with me in a way that felt like their sister was coming over to have a conversation with them. And it was intentional in the respect that I wouldn't want someone to just drop in my life for a minute and to ask me something so personal about something that I'm dealing with every single day of my life. Because then, you know, Greg and I, we pack up all the equipment, put it in our cute van and drive off, and then what? And then they don't hear from me until the film is done. We didn't want to approach it that way. And to this day, so the film's been over since January of this year, and now we do it every other Friday, only because I'm really busy. But from 5 to 6, we are on our Zoom call, checking in, talking, laughing, crying, you know, whatever it is that we do. I took the time to build a relationship with these 5 women, and I think that what they gave me in return was the result of us having that relationship.
Can I just ask, Valarie, how important was that? Was that building block? Was that Tonia? Yeah, that's right, I saw you doing that.
I'm a kindergarten teacher. And listen, it was so important. Because if we're gonna open up, uncover, reveal, we were gonna go deep. We're not gonna go just deep with any Joe Smo. And so we got to know our sister.
And they were tough.
Don't tell them.
Yeah, they were tough. They were tough. They're like, who are you? What have you done?
Yeah.
You know, yeah.
And I loved her on a different level because her husband, we have some kind of connection and it goes deep. And so the love was just building and growing. And so we're just grateful for what we built.
In the back.
First, let me sing Brookline Forever.
Yeah.
Yes, Brookline High.
I would also like to get AJ. But,
You got that.
seriously, what went through your thoughts and your heart to do this story, even though she was expressing that positive synergy and energy when you shook hands?
That's a great question, Dee. I remember turning to my husband towards the end of 2020. So this is our first year in COVID. And I remember turning to him and I said, I think I want to do another film. And he's like, okay, what do you want to do? I said, I don't know. And this was her third strike analogy. I said, let me reach out to Val one more time and kind of see. I knew I was ready to do another story. And if she hadn't said yes, I don't know what you would have watched up there. I just think it was supposed to happen at that time. And because we did the premiere in September of 2017, and then, so yeah, you ran for me for 3 years. Wow. I'm feeling kind of way now.
But you know, I'm not trying to, it's not gonna be a sermon, pastor's back here. Who, help me with the scripture, pastor. Who got joined together? Did you see the joining of hands? No man can. So, yeah, so it had nothing to do with us. It's way bigger than us. God knew that this had to be a story. This was a story, is a story that had to be told. And who better to do it? Who?
I'd like to shout out a couple of the people who helped make this film who's in the house. First of all, my amazing husband and partner in life and love, Greg. Stand up.
Virgin Islands!
My mother was the writer of this film, and she's here with me in the back. She's not going to stand up. Oh, she is going to stand up. Thank you. Cynthia Johnson, yeah? Haley Finn, who was the assistant video editor on this film, but she's now permanently with Whole Bay Productions, so yay. Ron Milton must have snuck out. He did. I don't see him. My son Kyle ran grip for a day on the film. You can stand up. But it really was just pulling together people who I've worked with. I worked in television news for 25 years and pulling together the best of the people who I worked with. But, you know, me and my road dog, Greg, just packing up that van and driving everywhere was probably some of the best times of our lives. So we really had fun.
I just want to say I love the doll that was next to you that had vitiligo.
Yeah.
Oh, sad story. We had a young woman in New York City with vitiligo, fairly young, 30, 40 something. And she knitted me when the vitiligo was new, just by seeing my face on Facebook.
Oh, wow.
And she knitted me. So when I take it to the, we go reading now to the YMCAs and the schools and the libraries, my dog goes everywhere. And when I tell the kids, and by the way, this is me, the kids, no, not you, because it's brown. My baby's brown. And so we just lost. She had to stop knitting because she shot out a nerve in the finger, and then she had lupus and whatever. So we're laying her to rest, I think, next week. And also in the movie from my Connecticut group, you saw Millie there and her brother, and one of his lines that just touched me to the core is when he said, it's about loving yourself. We lost him on Saturday. Well, he'll be laid to rest this Thursday. So there's some things moving within our circle that we ask if you know how to pray, just pray for our folks. Thank you.
Yeah, and Todd was by far the most positive spirited person I've ever met in my life. And he passed due to complications with diabetes, another autoimmune disease. But, you know, he's the one at the end that says, yeah, you look good, bro. You look good. Like, I just love that line from him. But yeah, sadly, he passed. And, you know, but he was just such a light. And, yeah. So, you know, Millie is in some pain right now, but, you know, we're keeping good tabs on her, and we will be on the line this Friday at 5 o'clock, like we always do.
Well, we want to thank you for bringing your story to us, for coming and having this conversation. Really important. We wish you luck with it. I think, you know, everyone here, if you know places and spaces where we should be screening this, we should be doing that, so let them know. But thank you. And thank you, Greg.
Thank you, ROXFILM. Thank you so much. Thank you, Lisa.